Well, let's continue. A section of members of parliament from Mount Kenya region allied to Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua have watered down the 100-page impeachment motion tabled by the mover, KBC Member of Parliament Wenge Mutuse. The lawmakers, led by Gatanga Member of the National Assembly, Wakili Edward Muriu, have vowed that they will oppose the motion seeking to kick out Gachagua from office. This comes as the church leaders called on the 291 legislators who appended the signatures in support of the motion to rethink their position and lower the political temperatures in the country.
Order, honorable members. Order.
Tuesday afternoon, and what many had thought was hearsay emerged as reality in the chambers of the National Assembly. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's tribulations had just kicked off. Speaker Moses Wetangula announcing that the motion to kick Gachagua out of office was presented to him on Friday.
I find that the special motion meets the requirements relating to form and threshold set out in the Articles 145(1) and 151(b) of the Constitution and Standing Order 64(1).
I have no grudge, I have no malice, I have no ill will, I have no personal vendetta against His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua. I am just doing my duty as a citizen of the Republic of Kenya.
The 100-pages document tabled by Mutuse contains 11 grounds of impeachment against the country's second-in-command, ranging from gross violation of a constitution, gross misconduct, gross violation of a National Cohesion and Integration Act, and the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act.
The Process of Crime and Money Laundering Act is one of those laws pursuant to Section 2 of the Constitution of Kenya that we domesticated because of our international obligations about money laundering. And therefore, by proving the same, I will also be demonstrating before Kenyans that His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has committed international crimes.
And one by one, Mutuse read out the names of the 291 MPs who had appended their signatures to the impeachment motion, which included all the 6 elected MPs in Gachagua's native Nyeri County. Mbeere North MP Geoffrey Ruku raised concern over the impeachment threshold on grounds that there are 4 vacant positions left by Energy CS Opiyo Wandayi, Treasury CS John Mbadi, and yet to be conducted by-elections in Banissa and Magarini.
To pass this motion, shall we require 2/3 of 345 members or 349 members?
Other members raised concern over their security and that of members during the time of processing the motion, claiming history had some lessons.
Honorable Speaker, you must direct the Inspector General of Police to ensure that when this House is sitting within the precincts of Parliament and even outside and including committees of this House sitting, Honorable Speaker, members are secured.
What we are doing is not a small thing, Mr. Speaker. When Trump was being removed, was being impeached in the United States, Mr. Speaker, you know what he attempted to do?
Are relying on 11 grounds to send the Deputy President home in a well-crafted motion coloured with pictorials of assets allegedly owned by the Deputy President and his kin. The Kibwezi West legislators' 100-page impeachment motion accuses Gachagua of crimes ranging from abuse of office to corruption.
The move of the impeachment motion is banking on 11 grounds to have the Deputy President removed from the House. Gachagua is accused of making inflammatory statements that threaten to discriminate against certain communities, undermining the very fabric of Kenya's diverse society. The motion further alleges that Gachagua has repeatedly undermined President William Ruto and the cabinet, making unilateral public statements contrary to government policies. This has raised eyebrows about his commitment to collaborative governance. Adding to the gravity of the situation, Gachagua is alleged to have interfered with Nairobi's county governance, inciting citizens against lawful directives and usurping powers meant for devolved units. Such actions have led to accusations of reckless behavior and becoming of a deputy president. The list of accusations doesn't end there. Gachagua faces serious allegations related to corruption, with claims of amassing a 5.2 billion shillings property portfolio through dubious means incompatible with his non-legitimate income. In addition to these financial concerns, the Deputy President is also accused of bullying public officials and engaging in insubordination, further complicating his standing within the government.
Well, a section of members of parliament from Mount Kenya region, allied to Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, have watered down the 100-page impeachment motion tabled by the mover, that is KBC MP Mwengi Mutuse. The lawmakers, led by Gatanga Member of Parliament, that is Wakili Edward Muriu, have vowed that they will oppose the motion seeking to kick out Gachagua from office. This comes as church leaders called on the 291 legislators who appended their signatures in support of the motion to rethink their position and lower the political temperatures in the country.
24 hours after Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua stated that he will not resign from his post.
Najua hii watu nafikiri wako very desperate ya kunipaka matope wakijaribu kunitoa kwa kazi. Lakini they will be shocked wakati ikifika. Wacha tungoje, kama impeachment tuliambiwa itakuja kesho, tunangojea. Mawakili wetu wako tayari. Wacha walete grounds, tutaangalia, tutajibu. Lakini unajua wengine wanajaribu, nimeona wengine wananisindikisha sasa wabunge 300 wamesaini, sasa wewe you are die cast, si ujiuzuru uende nyumbani. Sasa mimi nijiuzuru hii kazi mimi sikujipea.
KBC Member of Parliament Mwengi Mutuse tabled an impeachment motion against the country's second in command.
The grounds themselves constitute about 42 pages, and with the rest of the material, we have about nearly 100 pages.
The motion infuriating legislators allied to Gachagua.
It is clear whichever direction that motion will go, it will have serious social, political, and economic ramifications in the entire mountain region.
The Speaker can guide that we go to our people so that we get their nod, since the Deputy President has been elected by the people of this republic. And going against their wish shows some selfish interest.
The legislators, led by Gatanga Member of Parliament Wakili Edward Muriu, have urged MPs to vote against the motion, claiming it is a political witch hunt.
But you can see all this has been centered to the members of Parliament who has been influenced in one way or another. Others were signing other duress that if they don't sign, not a single time, the projects that are in their constituencies will be done.
It is not too late to do the right thing. And in the event our advice and counsel is ignored, as members of Murang'a County, we shall vote no to the said motion.
The MPs argue that the public ought to be involved in the process that will undoubtedly have an impact on Gachagua's political career. Meanwhile, a section of church leaders in Nairobi County have called for a ceasefire between Gachagua and the 219 MPs who have appended their signature on the impeachment motion.
And so we need to stop politics of attacking one another left and right. That will not save this nation. So the time we have now is development, address peace, peace.
Peace from number one, peace to the end, A to Z, in this nation of ours.
Na wasihi hawa wawili wasikizane, na kama wanaona vigumu, mimi waniite, mimi ni national figure.
Sasa kama kuna jambo yoyote imefanyika kwa mdogo wa rais, wangeketi chini waongee, badala kupeleka imambo pale bunge ili bunge imfukuze kazi.
The motion has also elicited mixed reactions from the public.
What I would tell my friend Gachagua, with a lot of humility and respect, I would ask him just to resign quietly, plan his game again, and not force all these kind of hulabalus we are going to hear.
The motion, which surpassed the required 170 legislators to back it, must garner the support of 233 MPs for it to be transmitted to the Senate.
And Makueni Senator, that is Daniel Manzo, has filed a motion to censure President William Ruto, citing gross violation of the Constitution and the mismanagement of public affairs. The motion presented to the Senate has no serious implications, such as impeachment, but seeks to express dissatisfaction over how the head of state has run the country.
The Senate is awaiting approval of Speaker Amason Kingi to debate a censure motion against President William Ruto, filed by Makueni Senator Dan Manzo. In the motion, Manzo alleges multiple constitutional breaches and wants the senators, guided by Standing Orders 101, subsection 1, to express displeasure and disappointment with the conduct of the president and censure him.
But the attempt to impeach the deputy president has created a lot of commotion in the country. And similarly, a lot of Kenyans have expressed that if you are going to impeach the deputy president, then impeach the president too.
According to the legislator, the marginalization of Kenyans, the lack of adequate public participation in decisions concerning social health insurance fund, the affordable housing scheme, and the new university funding model have led to widespread discontent among Kenyans and have demeaned the office of the president.
As an arbiter, as a referee, you cannot determine which team is winning even before the game begins. And therefore, that also calls for action, so that we all act within the constitution.
If passed, this censure motion represents a formal rebuke of President Ruto by the Senate. While it does not directly lead to an impeachment, the censure motion by Manzo adds to the pressure on Kenya Kwanza administration, which is already facing an impeachment motion against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua.
And there's a new dawn in the health sector after the Social Health Authority was officially launched on Tuesday, ending the National Insurance Fund. The rollout of the new health insurance took place simultaneously across the regions countrywide amid confusion at various hospitals, with those not registered unable to access services. Others who are already registered also cited challenges accessing services under CHEF. In Nairobi County, the NHIF building was rebranded to the Social Health Authority.
At the stroke of midnight, the curtains fell on the National Health Insurance Fund, which has been in operation since 1966. NHIF paves way for the Social Health Authority. The famous NHIF building in Nairobi was rebranded to SHA. The official rollout took place simultaneously across the country, with Health Cabinet Secretary Dr. Deborah Barasa, who was in Kakamega County, expressing concern over low registration.
Hata waliokuwa kwa NHIF tukiendelea kuhamisha, mnaenda tu hospitali na mtaonekana.
Public Health Principal Secretary Mary Muthoni led the rollout exercise in Kisumu.
No money is going to be lost. If you had overpaid in NHIF, that money is going to be rolled out into Social Health Authority.
The rollout in Nairobi County took place at Mama Lucy Hospital, with county health promoters challenged to ensure more Kenyans register in order to enjoy the benefits under the new scheme.
Lakini sembuse hujalipa na hujarejista. Ukiwa na emergency, unaenda hospitali, unapata huduma kwa hiyo masaa 24 bure.
However, as the rollout was taking place countrywide, a spot check by KBC at various hospitals revealed that patients who had not registered were unable to access services.
Lakini tulikuwa na kadi NHIF, tukaenda tukaambiwa haifanyi, tutumie cash. Kwa hivyo tumetumia cash. Tulikuja tu tukapata mambo ilibadilika.
Despite having registered, other patients were told the system was not operational.
Nilikuwa nimekuja Kenyatta kutibiwa, but nimeambiwa kuhusu NHIF kwanza wapate mitambo ya saa haijaanza kufanya kazi mpaka ifanya.
Ile hospitali yangu nimechagua, nikaenda hapo kuchagua nipate matibabu, lakini niliambiwa wewe huwezi kupata matibabu leo, itabidi ulipe cash.
Kama kuwa kazi, wajaribu kuchukua manual ndio waweze kuupdate wakati systems zinawaka.
At Mama Lucy Hospital, patients turned away from other facilities flocked to the hospital seeking services. Those not registered were referred to the Social Health Authority desk at the facility to be assisted to register.
Tuseme for example leo nipatwe na ugonjwa wenye unahitaji pesa mingi na nimetoa ya hii mwezi peke yake. Hiyo kadi itanisaidia ama itasema kadi ni mpya kwanza?
It is still a 50-50 thing. Hatuko sure kile inafanya ama haitafanya. Tunangoja wale wataanza kutumia watatuambia ndio kiasi kidogo.
Wa improve sasa waweke kwa kila mtu anaweza tibiwa mahali popote.
The curtains have fallen on the National Health Insurance Fund, ushering in the Social Health Authority. However, on the first day of the rollout, Kenyans are calling for enhanced civic education. Nancy Okware, reporting from the Social Health Authority offices, Nairobi.
Thank you, Nancy, for that report. Now, former Kiambu Governor Ferdinand Waititu and activist Morara Kebaso have challenged the Director of Public Prosecutions, Renson Mulele's preferred charges against them. Through their lawyers, the duo, who appeared separately before a chief magistrate court in Nairobi, faulted the contents of the intended charge sheets being below the standard quality, that is. The court will pronounce itself on the validity of the charge sheet on Friday afternoon.
First in the dock was activist Morara Kebaso.
Whether that quotation meets.
The office of the DPP had presented a charge sheet indicating that Morara allegedly posted false information about President William Ruto and businessman David Langat.
The statement of the offense and the particulars of the offense.
However, Morara's legal team led by Martha Karua dismissed the charge sheet for lack of merit.
If there's an offense to which one can plead, are they multiple offenses? Or is it just a lamentation that the court is being asked to take plea on?
The trial magistrate Lucas Onyina released Morara on a cash bail of 50,000 shillings with a ruling on the charge sheet slated for 4th October. Next was former Kiambu County boss Ferdinand Waititu, whose charge sheet cited the use of abusive words in a public place in Ruiru, Kiambu County on Sunday, 29 September.
This court must guard under Article 10 such kind of habits and conduct by the DPP and the police.
His lawyers, led by Martha Karua, Willis Otieno and Egwanjiru, urged the court to disregard the charge sheet as it curtails the freedom of speech and freedom of expression as enshrined in the Constitution, among other issues.
Of the application relating to the charge sheet on 4th of October this year at 2 p.m. physically.
Elsewhere at the Makadara Law Court in Nairobi, 3 suspects John Osieno Ongojo, Irene Gisa Simiyu and Diana Kaindindinda were charged with malicious damage to property belonging to 2 journalists. The crime was committed during a fire incident at Rototank Company last month. The trio are given a bond of 500,000 shillings with mention set for 20th November. Journalist Fred Mochama of Kenya Broadcasting Corporation and Victor Amogo of K24 TV had their cameras damaged while covering the fire incident.
It's very clear from the clips the journalists introduced themselves as journalists working for KBC. However, that would not be enough. The journalists were assaulted, their property maliciously destroyed. So we are calling out on the police to do what they should do.
Ruth Wamboy for Good Morning, Kenya.
Thank you, Ruth. Now let's look at business, where United Kingdom investors are asking the government for a predictable tax regime to create a conducive investment environment. British Deputy High Commissioner to Kenya, Leigh Stubblefeld, says there is need to streamline the tax regime in the country to improve investor confidence.
United Kingdom's foreign direct investment in Africa is valued at close to 13 trillion shillings, representing 2.5% of the nation's total global FDI. Kenya is planning to position itself as UK's key investment destination through increased trade agreements and incentives.
What we are trying to do as a country, we are trying to, how do we position Kenya as an entry and gateway of this FDI from foreigners and especially from UK.
British company trying to settle here in Kenya, at least now there is one-stop shop, which we believe if we will continue building that one-stop shop is going to attract and woo more investors.
However, a section of British investors are calling for the government to rationalize the tax regime to make it more predictable.
Creating a more predictable and well understood revenue process, a taxation system for Kenya can really help businesses understand better what they face.
Over 140 UK businesses, mainly in the agriculture and pharmaceuticals, have shown interest in setting up subsidiaries in the country.
Anticipating to have like 110 companies between now and next year.
Investors have called for more trade agreements to show up trade between the two countries that saw Kenya shipping goods worth 55 billion shillings to the UK last year, while importing goods valued at 41 billion shillings.
We are now focusing on special economic zones which are service sector focus.
Kenya is planning to increase foreign direct investments to 387 billion shillings in the next 1 year, from the current 193 billion shillings.
A look at sports, where the national kabaddi team bagged bronze at the Men's Beach World Cup in Iran after they lost to the hosts in the semi-finals. In a statement, the Kenya Kabaddi Union said the achievement is a huge milestone to the development of the sport in the country. Kenya kicked off their campaign with a 66-14 win over Palestine in Pool B before losing 45-32 to Pakistan in their next fixture. Following subsequent wins over Lebanon and Germany, Kenya advanced to the semi-finals after finishing second in the pool. However, the Kenyan team lost 30-49 to the hosts in the semi-finals to bag bronze. The team's departure to the Beach World Cup was marked by a standoff between Ministry of Sports officials and Kenya Kabaddi Union officials before eventually reached an agreement that enabled them to travel to Iran. That report brings us to the end of the news this morning. As always, thank you for your company. My name is Marie Yambo. Next up is my colleague Victolo.